All
So
right, word.
when you said routine, that shit crashed. I was like, bruh.
No, you're good. You're good. The whole thing is recorded anyway, so you can always watch this back.
Yo,
So,
okay.
so long story short, we're talking about like, um, when we're in the marketplace, the biggest thing where people get like confused is about like, I'll just make sure the brightness is up. Now, when you're looking at the marketplace from left to right, obviously, my Monday was a bank holiday, so and what I'm doing is like from left to right. I'm pointing out things inside of the chart that might shift us into a certain idea or a certain main idea.
Right.
You ever feel like, when you're planning your trades, it doesn't feel like sometimes like um it's like we understand what the targets are, but we don't know which is like the order of it, right? It might be like these highs here and these lows here, but we don't know it's going to go up then down, right? Or if it's going to come down and then blast up and stay on that side, right? When all of this is printing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so we understand like where we talked about turtle soup and we talked about again above old highs, below old highs. But this is why we talk about like understanding your own objective. And when I'm talking about routine, it's like when we're coming in like on a Monday through Friday, you typically know the times that you're available to trade, the times you're actually sleeping, the times you're working, right? Times with your girl, right? So other things like that. So when it's like, yo, I need to like formulate my trade plan, not just on like, you know, how the entire algorithm is going to move from left to right. Yeah. When you're planning your ideas, understanding how time and price plays the biggest role, yes. But that means we still need to trade correctly based on that session, that day, what's happening from left to right. And so that's why I'm saying like we have this bank holiday here. We don't even have a PM session because the market was closed. So we go right to Asia. So obviously the rest of the week was normal. But when you get to some of these things and we start to highlight it, we had a manipulation here because this is an A, M, and then D, all the way up for a second, and then down. But realistically, we had news this day. We had news this day. And again, I believe we had a triple check it, but I think we had some sort of news on today. Let me triple check. So I know we had bank holiday. We had yeah, and we had news today, of course. Yeah.
Crazy week.
Now it's understandable though. It's not a crazy week. It's actually a standard week. Every
Where
first week of the month.
mm is
So this is good for your notes here.
actually like
First week of the month. I hate it when it does that. Okay. First
first
week
week.
first week of the month is important. And so for this idea, this is why I was saying in the chat all week, it's like, yo, don't get confused trying to understand every fucking thing and trying to trade every price swing.
Mm,
That's stupid. So instead, you understand what's on the schedule on the calendar on Forex Factory beforehand. You go into the week knowing what day and time the news is. So that means you need to prepare for this in a certain way. So that means we have a bank holiday here. Again, I don't trade Mondays anyway, so I'm never going to touch this. So I'm
right.
already here when I'm like starting the week. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get these strong rejections off here, right? Now looking at market structure, And I start to trade down into this London here. At London session, right? Now I'm gonna drill down to a 15. The reason why this is so important, right? We talked about the bank holiday, so there's no trading. Now, watch this. You can see I'm getting faster with the computer.
Yeah.
So now, right after midnight, right? And I've talked on this a few times. Right when we open on midnight, it's a new day, literally, right? So after midnight, we go sideways for a little bit, creates all this liquidity above and below it. But the main point is when you get up in London, we understand what London does as a function. So even if I got rid of that and I got rid of the pink line in a minute, the main idea is that remember your training. And most people freak out at the price action here and forget their training, bro. So right here in their mind, they're like, yo, okay. I see liquidity, I see liquidity, I see liquidity. All right. This has to be low day. Fuck it, I'm buying it. We swung into London, I'm buying this. And then when they get met with all this, bro, they get scared. Then they try to buy it again. And then all this shit happens.
There's range runners too that like show you clearly what's gonna do.
And that's the thing, you're right. The range runners are really consecutive here. So if you took a trade against somewhere here, this is good. But how do we achieve that with like actual logic? We understand the function of these things. So the biggest thing here is we talk about that so many times, bro.
True.
New York and turtle London, then aim at Asia. Oh, pretty stable.
And
And the reason why I write it out this extensively, okay,
mm-hmm.
is
I'm
we
writing
see
this.
that, yeah, you're right. So we see like the evidence of this here. See how London is just randomly the high of the day?
Yeah.
And this is my
Even
thing.
if Asia's not,
Um,
even if Asia's not the high of the day all the way up there.
and that's the thing. Asia, this being 6 p.m., this is like the high of it's still Monday here. Does that make sense?
True. Okay. Yeah. So from midnight.
That's why I pointed out midnight. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's smart. I'm gonna write that shit down too.
You feel me?
Yeah. Bro, cause like, how can you not take notes? Cause look, like, bro, you dead ass. You only remember like 5%,
And
maybe.
yes, it's a lot of information. It's just a lot of information. There's so many things that we have to remember and reference that if you're not like at the point where you like memorized it, you're gonna have
Mhm.
to reference it a bunch. You're like, all right, shit, what was London's function?
Yeah, and then you
Okay,
start looking back, and as you're looking back, your subconscious is taking in everything all the wrong information that you're not looking forward to, and
yeah.
then
And then you see when things are slightly different because you're expecting something. So when London's not the high or low of the day, and then New York does that thing it does, and I'll come back to this for a second. And New
okay.
York does that thing it does. You know how like New York does this shit right here, where we talk about session turtle, even though it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take the all time like session low here or the session low here.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we open from the end of London into New York, all this consolidation here gets fucked over by the news. This is the thing
Damn.
about New York, and people get confused here too. That's a big thing for your notes. Price is like, yes, always looking for liquidity. That doesn't mean it always has to take the most extreme one at the time.
Right.
You see how close it gets? It doesn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
It does not get there. It can easily keep this open and do this here. Watch. And this is what I'm, the big part of this lecture. It's the market organization people get scared about. They don't know if it's going to be, when we come into New York and you see this little bridge here, it goes up and then down.
Mm-hmm.
The first time it goes down here, consolidate, up, then down here again. But this high is still open. And we're also looking at like the high of Asia, right? So the point is, when we're looking at price like this, there's a difference in how you're going to participate at 3 in the morning and then what you need to do at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You have a different opportunity. If this is a upward move that you found, okay, cool. Now, no problem. Now, again, the whole time you're in a buy here, you need to be looking downside because you're like, yo, hold on, these are still open. I'm just going to watch that. And that's still open. I want to watch this. So when you get a reaction like this that goes like this far down in one candle and it takes out like half this range, you're like, yo, hold on now, bro. Doesn't this look suspect off the rip?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, specifically, like all these candles, and look how they formulate. It goes like a step ladder, like up, down, up, down, up, down. You know what I mean? But it doesn't stop moving
Yeah.
up. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing, it makes this high in London. We fall again. But if you're in a buy here, you need to start looking at here and seeing if you need to protect yourself or not, or taking a partial or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna. Let's say you had it like down here, it doesn't fully take you out, and it runs back up. But the problem is, you don't want to just randomly hold on to this shit.
Yeah, and then that's like all day too.
And this is the thing, this scenario is only in one session. This could be the same thing on any time frame. So the same way that this is a bullish session, most of it, and the tail end of it is bearish,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have an open mind on expectation. So when these are still open, if these were closed, we would expect this to go one way and not give a fuck down here at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Since all of this is still open, we need to keep watch for it. So if we were up in London and we want to participate because we know it's the first trade of the day every day, I'm getting you guys comfortable with the organization of the marketplace so you can incorporate it in your own trading plan. Because we're all free or, we all work at different times of the day. So we're only going to be able to trade when we're literally free, right? So let's say
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, well, sometimes I'm up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And you're back in PA, so it's different than like Arizona time. So
Mm-hmm.
you're slightly going to be able to be like, yo, you know what? I'm a little more comfortable. I'm not as tired during 2 or 3 as I was in Arizona. I might actually be able to get up and trade like, and again, I say this on purpose. London is the first move of the day. And that's because it's easily, if it's not going to be the high of the day, how we talk about it, it could be the high of the session or the low of the session, right? I love
Yeah.
this. It's clean. It gives like a clean stopping point and starts going the other way a lot of times. So 9 times out of 10, when you're seeing something like this, to clean it up, right? London makes a high. You're going to drag it over till 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
London makes a low. You're going to drag it over till 12 o'clock. Now, I'm going to group these together just because they're equal lows. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
These two here, they're basically the same, right? Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do it like that. So the reason for me doing this is the lowest of the day in this area from Tuesday to Wednesday, and this is the highest that we got in London. Now we are understand that Asia's up here, we get that. But when we're in this area trying to operate, this is where everybody gets confused, scared, and fucked up. They're not sure what if it's the liquidity downside. They don't know if London is the target first and we're just going to stay on the buy side. They don't know if this is going to come up here and then just dump from these two candles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All this looks scary. And then when you get the turtle soup here and not this one, it confuses you because you're like, yo, what about the Asia low, bro? What the fuck? I thought Asia never survived. So why is this like surviving today?
Yeah.
But that's where you got to think about this. Bro, if it's not right now, then it's not right now. Accept that. So then later on, when you actually understand the assignment,
Damn.
bro, it's not for now. It's for later. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm.
That same low, we understand how close it got here and how frustrating that can be for new traders. And the whole time, you're just operating from, on paper what you learned. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is why it takes experience. After a while, you're like, yo, like I done this shit so many times, I can't be fooled.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn what like how I know the difference if it's gonna just almost touch it and then go up or turtle soup it. And I'm guessing that goes into gold back
Not just gold back. More importantly, even the levels, bro. It goes into time.
time. Oh, like if it doesn't do X by this time, then it'll do Y or it'll do Z.
Exactly.
Okay. Ooh, that makes sense.
This
I
is
can see
the
why it's like,
biggest idea I wanted you to come towards. Yes.
damn, bro, go to teacher.
And the biggest thing, there's just so many ideas, and I'm gonna do like a video, I think actually today on this actual concept. This would be good for my public YouTube because this is not really like an advanced thing, but it's really
But
like a fire thing to really think about in your trading.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, and I feel like ICT doesn't like, I mean, he says these types of things, but it's like it doesn't stand out. I don't have like a moment where he stands out and it's like fresh in your head, where he's like, yo, if this doesn't get touched by 10, 11 o'clock, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't
yeah,
really. There, he talks about the kill zones and talks about the liquidity, and he's telling you pretty much the whole time, like, yo, just try it. Yo, just try it. Just try it. First fair value, yeah, just try it. Like what? What? No, no. I'm not that. I don't want to do just that. I understand the
right.
logic to it, but I don't want to do just that. But the first thing is, like you said, why does price leave open the Asia and the London low? And these are both like, and I'm gonna be honest. I want you to like. I said this in a group chat recently, and I'm giving it to you again here.
Mm. Mm.
How do you mark liquidity? How do you identify what liquidity is more important than the other? So, for example,
Is it Wix? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
and no, what's on your mind? So, especially because I'm glad you said that first, but what else do you think about personally?
Mm, I don't know why I never thought about it like that. I should put more thought into it. But when it's making like major areas, like on the way, like right before Asia says how it's kind of like just a smooth slope down, but then like below it, it's big points that it, what I'm saying, like it makes big swings.
So the structure itself, yep,
Yeah,
the structure stands out visually, right?
yeah,
So these are really, really like, pointed out, and especially like areas like this, right? It's just random as shit. It's like, why are you there? You know what I mean?
right,
And same thing here. Why are you stopping there? That's what I think about. Because
yeah,
everybody in the marketplace just says, oh, it stopped there. Okay. But they don't think about why. For what reason did it stop
yeah,
exactly here? Why isn't it 10 points lower? Why isn't it 10 points higher? That's what I started to think about a couple years ago. I couldn't get over that. I'm like, bro, there's a reason why it stopped exactly here then. Because it did it more than once. So why is it doing that? It would fuck me up. Because I'm like, bro, how do I anticipate how low this is going to go before I need to invalidate my trade? Or how high do I need to, like, get before I actually take my profit? Or, some of these things became difficult only because we're focused on, like, the wrong information. So when we're talking about structure standing out and things like that, and also when I talk about how Asia low, London low here is not met yet with this price swing. And in our mind, we're thinking there's something wrong with us or the chart because in our mind, we want this to be down here to validate our idea so we can be right. And it also just makes sense. So when you're like, yo, I'm thinking the Asia low is the target on this price swing down, that's a logical thing to think about.
right,
It's not wrong. But what happens is we verify things by time, number one. And again, we do know that the London low and Asia low are more important than my PM low. It's more important than these little highs in here. It's way more important than these random ones on PM. Way more important than these highs in the middle of London. London high, London low, Asia high, previous day's low. All the
right,
bigger ones are the ones we give more of a fuck about.
right. It's like the bigger they are, the more magnetism they got, like that more pull, especially if they haven't like been taken out yet.
Exactly. These have more magnetism. The way you said that is actually kind of crazy. That is actually really cool that you think about it that way. And then, like we said,
Right.
if we don't meet this in that same day, bro, that's fine. Go do the other objective instead and come back to that. So if you're
Mm,
like, yo, you're so fixated on getting down here with your a sell move to make profits for going down, that you're trying to sell, 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 sell. You're fucking up the money, man, and the game. Understand that this is a different situation now. All right, if we're not gonna take this, low down here, and look at this, bro. This goes along with our idea. What time is this fucking candle? This is 10 o'clock. See that?
yeah. Oh, that's the thing I noticed too. Like every hour, like it usually like is really impactful.
And that's the thing. By 10 o'clock, if we are unable to take that SSL from London and Asia here by 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 and all that, it's not going to come down here. This is not going to retrace. It's going to make its way up and not stop until the next session starts.
Mm,
Here. It's not going to
so
stop. You feel what I'm saying? It's literally not going to stop. That's why when people say, well, I'm so confused, like, I don't know what to do here. Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I selling this? Because I was in profit. So I think I fucked it up. I should have took it. Well, yes, if you were in sales there, you should have got out around this consolidation. Yes, I agree. But you didn't fuck anything up. You understood the assignment that this is no longer bullish right now. But the idea was if somebody didn't think about these lows here, or maybe they did, you think about the lows, so it makes you want to trade down. That's understandable from a kill zone. So when you get to that 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour, as soon as it runs these lows here, and London is what? Still open here, but this is now wide open. It took sell side liquidity.
Mm.
It's not going
It
to take two in a row. Does that make
it
sense?
also yeah, it's like it took a lot of it too. So now there's more liquidity on buy side than there is on sell side.
So close first, more BSL available. Now it's time to go up. So when you have this by 10 o'clock in the morning, failure to touch these lows here, it's not going to do it. You're going to have to look towards PM to maybe do it if you don't have another objective up there. And look, even in a PM session, you don't even fully get back down there. But it goes to show you, buy side was only one session. This is one singular move by itself, bro. Same thing with the day after that. See what I
Damn,
mean?
bro, that screenshot right there is crazy, bro.
And look at the consistency in our logic. Price is not really bullish. It hasn't been bullish all fucking week.
Oh my god, bro.
And look what I mean. Every time you pop up, what is it going to do? Bullish for a second and crash back down every time, bro. Now watch.
Damn.
Look at the logic here. PM session highs. Now, based on what we just talked about, I want to see where your head's at. Do you see how we have a high here that is like, well, I guess I'll use
Yeah,
this. I'll use this one. It's better. So all of Asia gets taken out. You see that?
yeah, and then it doesn't take out the previous highs by 10, so it literally just dip. Pretty much. So yeah,
Now it's uh exactly what you said, my guy. I'm glad that's exactly what I need you thinking about. That right there was golden. This was 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. We
mm-hmm.
took whatever was in London to the
Kind
upside,
of scary, bro.
and the downside was wide open. Now, London took Asia's low. That's fine, right?
Uh-huh.
But do you see now what we're talking about? If you're open and trading, if you're up and available trading London, yes, you're going to trade down or figure out how to trade down here. But when you get all this consolidation here, you're going to probably get out around like, 7, 8 o'clock because you're in at 3 to 4. So you can trade this down and it never comes back yet. But when you get to 8 o'clock and it runs up like this, you're not going to be confused. Now, when you see the run here and you understand the assignment, yes, you can buy this right here, but you're watching for this. Do you see how at 8:15, 8:30 we start pumping up?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's two things we need to make sure that we can understand here. So that means people say, yeah, well, you know,
Need checklist.
if we're in at London, we understand that. 3 to 3:30, 4 o'clock. The whole time,
Bro.
the Asia highs are open. And I'm going from left to right. The Asia
Mm-hmm.
highs are open going into London. But when you start trading down and we aim at the sell side liquidity, this is one move by itself. You're not going to aim here or think about this being a retracement at 3 to 4 while this is pulling down. It's too far from it. And on top of that, this is a closer liquidity. This is the objective of London. It's going to take this out. That's why when this is done, it doesn't keep trending randomly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It had to make the liquidity here. Now, that's cool and all, but this is the real gem. Like we said, we need to verify things by time. When we're in this area here, to keep from being fucking confused as shit, this is open, but this is open too. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we handle this and potentially be in for that? So if we're awake here, this is again 7:30, 8, whatever. By 8 o'clock, 8:30, if we fail to touch the London lows and it starts running on you, it's the
Damn.
same concept as 10 o'clock. It's too late to run this right now. It's spooling higher. These are still open. We see it. So when it starts running up, you're not going to be surprised that it's going to take these here and take these here. And look at the time of day. 8:30, 9. You reach this by 9, 10 o'clock. When you get into that New York optimal trade entry time, 8 to 11, this is a whole new area for you to look for to press buttons. That's how you think of it as a function. So regardless if you saw the setup or not, you know the function of this that it gets you in the trade. That means, yo, I need to evaluate, am I still bullish? Am I bearish? What's still open? You've already seen, wow, I have all of these still open. I got that still open. But at the same time, we took the Asia high and it's going on 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we are not at these yet. I can't expect price to randomly get above here now. It's too late in the day to go higher. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, liquidity's taken already. So this is the liquidity I'm focusing on for a turtle. It's going to stop here, not take these, and give me a move because I know that the liquidity down here is still open. It goes in order, bro. 1, 2, and then back to attack 3. I want to be clear about this. When you look to participate, you're trying to get the best entries you can, bro. If you're a little late for that, that's fine. But the whole point is, even your pyramid needs to be somewhere at the top here. You don't want to start like putting in your first entry here, here, and here, and here. Yes, it works here today, but you don't want to do that shit on a regular basis. Because look, how many times do people look for things to just randomly fucking continue? if you don't get the high of the session, bro, and you're trying to trade down here, look at all the bullshit you go through, and it doesn't even go down yet. You got to get through all this bullshit now to get it down again.
Mm, hate
Instead of
that.
taking the trade at the right fucking time.
So I'm glad I'm back in PA.
10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30, down. That's what I mean, bro. People want to wait for all of this shit and then start buying up here. No, you missed that. You can't just do that, right? And on top of that, look at this. You already took all this fucking liquidity. Yeah, you're cooked. Why are you doing that? Don't be a buyer above that shit. Don't buy above this. It's not going to last that long. But even if people say, like, well, I thought it was going to go to, previous session high, and it did that. So that's not a good trade. And I'll tell you, like, yo, I mean, if you bought above this, that's not a good entry. People they'll get mad at me for saying that. But in reality, what I'm saying is, no, it's not a good entry, even though you made money. This
Bro,
is
it's
not going to be sustainable.
right.
You want to be, I know it's tough to look at price like this. Over time, you get used to it. And you want to be a buyer underneath this.
Right. It took out all that liquidity for it went up. Like it took out everything, bro.
It took out everything on that day. You see what I mean? Even took out this here, previous day's low. Be a buyer. That was a great lecture. On to the next one. There we go. And that's the thing, like not vibing out while you're trading, I think is not just not fun to me, but I mean, your overall like mental when you're trading is so important when you're trying to like stay motivated and do all these things that involve a lot of thinking and mental gymnastics in the damn chart. It's important to stay organized. You know what I mean? That's why when we talk about what's to our left and right, keeping what's open, or keeping, liquidity that's closed in mind, but we're not going to be super concerned about it by a certain amount of time. That's why when we talk about this, I love this example. Obviously, I'm put it in one more time, but the emphasis here is on the time of the day here. You feel me? This being our 8 to 11. Yeah. The failure by like that 9, 10, 11 o'clock, bro, to get to like another open liquidity that's like kind of near you. This is the biggest thing that people have to understand. The price is on a schedule. It's on a super tight schedule. It needs to get to somewhere. Smart money needs to move that money. If they're moving $1 million a minute down to liquidity, do you think that they're gonna like waste time, bro? No. They're not gonna waste time if they're doing $1 million a minute on this price swing.
Damn, bro.
They're not gonna waste any time. That's why when we talk about, hey, you need to verify something by time. If London makes a high and New York makes a, let's go somewhere in the marketplace there where we can explore, right? So, for example, I love fresh examples, right? This is what I'm talking about, bro. So when we get to this Wednesday here, do you see how perfect this day is, bro? And the reason why I say that,
Bro, it did the same thing.
you see that?
Mm.
But now, this is what we're talking about.
And then it didn't take out. Oh, okay.
It didn't even get close to that PM low. Didn't even get close. Now, this one's a little easier because it's not as close. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So in your mind, you're thinking, and you're right, right? So that means when we see the liquidity offered, we only really think about the London low now being taken out. But look what time it happened. 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, right? 10 o'clock. Failure to get back down to this one. And what's wide open to you? So what are you going to do? Not going to sell it. And what did I say before? I'm marking all the major ones. I want Asia high. I want London high, London low. Not saying PM session high low is not as important, but in reality, I'm really looking for my favorite sessions highs and lows. Or maybe like the Monday in general, just because that's a definitive high, right? Do you see how no matter what chart we go on, my organization is the same?
Yeah,
Sure.
I do.
Now let's drill down to a 15. Show you something. And again, it's a very simple lecture, but it's so complex because people have trouble with this all the time and say, hey, like, is this a turtle soup setup so that I can buy it? If you're looking to trade Asia that day, sure. It's not a bad turtle soup setup at all. PM session takes out London, so then you could buy it. So you understand the logic to that, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be a certain session that takes out one, so it's like an automatic buy or sell. No, you're looking at the market context. So when this is wide open, sure, it does go up here in New York, here. This is confusing for a lot of people. Like we talked about, it only needs to take some measure of liquidity, bro. It doesn't have to take everything. So when this doesn't continue, everybody just thinks that their bias was wrong and that they should have sold it. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
You're not wrong. This was the objective. In my mind, when people say, yo, I was so wrong, it wasn't even bullish. Like, I fucked up for trying to buy it and it went right down. No, you're not wrong. You caught it right at 8 o'clock and you bought it. It went right to a target. You should be proud of that. This is an amazing move. But people also say, well, Asia high didn't get taken. Well, I don't know what's wrong with the chart. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's
Yeah,
not you.
bro, that's the same mistake. I'm like, I would be up every time I took a L. Like I was up first, like I was up 20, and then I was
Right.
like, all right, let me leave it. Or then, no, what I would do is then I would be like, oh, I could max out, and then I would like add a whole another one on.
So that's the big thing. So remember, I'm coming in on that side of the straight up trade management. Don't add after a certain time. Don't add after a certain uh percentage of not even profit. Like don't even add when it gets too far away from you. Your first couple entries, they're sacred. Protect those. If you're down here and this is not bothering you at 8:45, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, let that thing just sit patient. Let it give you more money. So when you get a reaction like this, you're watching for it. You're not surprised that this does a little, up and then down. You can take your profits in here even if you don't get it right at the damn top. I want you to get it at the top because you understand why this is an area to take it out at. But
Mhm.
even if you were looking for the Asia high and the bigger Asia high and you don't get it, that doesn't make this a fucking losing trade, bro. That's what everybody needs to understand. This not a
Right.
fucking loser.
Yeah. You just have to manage it.
You
Cause
have
like,
to
look, if
manage
I
it.
managed it, I would have been stayed green, but I didn't manage it, and
You
then I
feel
was
me?
like,
That's why I wanted to do this exact lecture with you. Because I remember you
what?
typed that in the chat. And it's funny, I read what the chat says, and people think I don't like respond to that right away.
Nah, I'm not.
It's funny because I'll say something 2 weeks later that you did, and they'll be like, "Damn, bro, you remember that?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I remember exactly what the fuck you did and what you said." What? If you tell me, "Yo, I keep pyramiding in this shit. I don't know where my pyramids are. They're far as shit away from me. I'm getting in trades every 10 seconds.
Mm.
I'm gonna see what you do in the next couple of days, and I won't say nothing about it. I'll actually no, I'm lying. I'll
Oh,
I'll say something about it, but I won't stop you from doing it.
right, bro. You're a genius, bro.
I'll just watch you and see how you're responding to my logical and why you do it or not. We understand this. Liquidity's taken. In the same way we talk about making ourselves available. We're available for these. Maybe you took off a partial here and you had a runner and you tried to get that. That's logical. So if you don't get it, you understand the assignment. Now, we understand that 9:45, 10 o'clock, we're still in distribution. When you get to that 10:30, bro, and you're damn near halfway back down here, what do you think it's going to do?
Mm.
And on top of that, this is a liquidity pool. It's not like one singular low down here. So this should already be a concern that this is not taken at some point. Does that make sense?
It does.
How about here? There's one, two, three, four, five little lows in there. Way different than this here. And you see how both gets taken? Both of them. Up and down. But the problem is, remember what I said in the beginning of this lecture?
Mm.
I'm looking at the structure of this. This is a London high, London low. We got it. The actual session is making this important for me. Asia high, make Asia low. That's a very important high and low for me. Look at the structure of the Asia low and right after it. Super consolidated. All these lows in here. Hella liquidity, and we call that a sell side liquidity pool.
Dang, that reminded me of ICT video I watched before.
Exactly. I
Because
mean, we
from
learned it all
consolid,
from him,
it
you
always
know?
moves from consolidation and goes right into manipulation or distribution, pretty much.
And so it's going to make these little lows in here, but this is nothing in my mind when I see this. This doesn't scream support for now, but when you get back down here and this starts to just spool downward a certain way, this makes me think of, oh, I need to attack this. This is wide open, and all of these little wicks in here, this is going to be smacked when we get there. It's not like this. See how there's only one singular high? Little
Mm-hmm.
tap, little tap right for optimal trade entry, and then right back down. Demolishes this liquidity pool. This is more important than this to me. So when I see this little run up, I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't do that and understand the assignment and make your money. But if you're looking for your second opportunity or you're looking for your first trade of the day, if you just woke up here and you say, you know what? Damn, we did take out London and we're spooling down now. 11 o'clock, failure to get back above this high. Yeah, you need to be a seller. And you need to look for the closest liquidity that makes sense to you visually. What stands out in here, and this is the first one, and it's London low. The market organization is key.
Mm.
All we're doing is taking the concepts and simplifying them. And all we did was move on to that day by itself. And again, verifying certain things at certain times. So when I see like a 8 o'clock in the morning, what do we do? You know it's slightly different. London High got taken out by New York, didn't it? What do? You sell it. And what's wide open? Visually.
London low, Asia low.
And like I said, if you had more than one lot size in or more than one position to make up a whole trade, right? I normally do if I have a 1.0, I'm trading 0.25s, right? You can start off
Yeah.
doing it like that. You know what I mean? And I'll have
Mm-hmm.
four of them. Or if you want to do a 0.50 and just do two 0.25s at a time, you can do it that way.
Mm-hmm. I was
So,
thinking about
you see what I mean?
doing hundreds and then doing 4.25, or then I was thinking about doing um like 10 parcels because it's just $100 parcel if I make it to a bin.
So this is the thing. The reason why I break it into three or four, you don't want to have like a lot of like, seven, eight, nine positions straight in the same idea. Because if you
Yeah.
have to aggressively close something, I mean, yeah, we could hit like a close all button on most platforms now.
Oh,
But
that's
at,
true. That's
but at
true.
the
I see.
same time, you don't want to like
That's,
super
yeah.
manage the risk that way. If you get one bad candle and you see like how the drawdown looks multiplied, it's going to fuck with you mentally, even if your idea is fine. So let's say this goes up a little too high on your turtle suit that you don't like.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like, yo, I got 10 fucking positions in this thing. Fuck. Even if I'm not going to say it like that. I mean, maybe if your lot size is not like, when you multiply, it's still not huge. But
Right.
let's say maybe you're still going for a 1.0 or whatever. So I understand the logic, but break it down into only like four parts or three. So you can just easily take one off at major levels. But you don't want
Right.
to have much to actually like manage. But it's still going to get the job done. Take your partials if you don't like this liquidity here and you think this retracement is bad. Take partials again here and try to hold your last one for lower. If you don't get that, you take your last one out around here. No
Right.
pressure. You
No
done already
pressure.
paid yourself 2 to 3 times in that trade idea. For somebody like me who trades full time, you trade because you want to, and you're like, yo, I can't really have one position in. Because my thing is, it's not just about like, you know, trying to make more money. It's actually about perfect trade management. If you need to take that partial or you need to pay yourself when it makes it available, you can't do that with one position because it's going to cause you to now take another trade at a lower price from a
Right.
price you don't really like when you
Yeah.
had it a fucking up here and shit. So if you had two in from here and you take one out and you hold one, it doesn't take your last one out at all. You get paid again.
Right.
That's how what I'm saying when you make yourself available. It's not about get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. No. No, 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 no. You're going to lose track of this shit and get frustrated every 5 minutes trying to get in the shit.
Right.
Find your entry. By the time you find it with a logical idea, then you could literally go and do another activity, bro. Come back at a relevant time. You're in at 3, you're done at 8. You're in at 8, you're done at 12.
Right.
Simple, you know?
Mm.
But that's why we formulate it that way. And look, there's nothing remotely difficult about this today. It's just annoying looking, but again, it's all about understanding perspective, right? And like I said, coming into a first week of the month, it's either going to be accumulation or what?
X.
Exactly. Now let's check. Was the week itself?
That looks like accumulation to me. Only because
Looks,
it came.
yeah, like
It could be X, but I only say accumulation because it kind of came back down to that kind of to that EQ level.
you know what? I know what you're saying. I do the same thing a lot. I know what you mean. And you know what? And we can verify this by next week, and that's fine. We don't need to know fully this week. This does look like a just because like this was trendy. Yes, not saying it, like that's
All
the
right.
thing. Accumulation, not like it can't move, but when you have all of this dumb shit, and then you trend up, 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 and then you go right back into the range, like you said, that's a pretty consolidated thing to do.
Yeah.
But I understand where we're like, okay, it might be the X because this is kind of trendy from Tuesday to a Friday.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to verify our X with the next week's price action. Does that make sense?
Mm. Can you
Because we
explain
need it.
like what it's gonna do?
So what I mean is, do you see how we can always break it down in a fractal way? Like right now,
Yeah.
this is clearly like a, right?
Hmm.
Now this is clearly an M, right?
Yeah.
If we can't fully tell if this whole week is X or A, we're going to need to verify it how Tuesday verifies the Monday. So we need the second week of the month to show us what the first week of the month is part of the cycle.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, for example, if this is really like an X, that means all next week's going to be what?
Accumulation.
On some dumb shit. It's going to be.
Oh that shit, bro. Just when I learned a whole bunch of shit.
Now, watch. It's funny though, because you can still come in and actually trade that. You just have to understand the objective. So, if all next week is, just a huge pile of, you know, up, down, right? This will make sense if this was the X and this was your A week. You know what I mean? That would make
Yeah.
sense. Now, if we're wrong, it doesn't matter. It'll show us in the first 2 days of the marketplace. We'll know. If it starts being A, we'll know that shit by Tuesday, Wednesday. If this is an A and then next week starts going insane, say this opens, you're going to know which part of the cycle this was. Does
All
that make
right.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on your expected price action going into next week. But it's cool that we can actually come in and slightly expect it. So,
Yeah.
regardless of that, right? It's cool that you're now thinking about overall what is the macro doing. So, if AMD
Yeah.
is happening on the month, right? It's first week of the month to the fourth. There's four parts to your cycle, and you need to go think about that. AMDX, right? Or XAMD. Same thing with every week. Monday through Thursday is going to have that cycle. Friday's your measure of retracement.
Mm.
I love that. And
Makes sense.
again, we didn't have to talk about a dealing range. We didn't have to talk about anything ridiculous. All we did was follow structure, look at liquidity correctly, and talk about market organization. Does that make sense?
It does. Dang, bro.
Okay. So what I want to do going into next week is how you're viewing price right now. I don't actually have a problem with. What I want to do though is work with you on your trade management and how you're viewing price going into certain times of the day, of the week, of the session, of the month, and understanding your own expectations. So if we have news a lot of the times on the first week of the month, you're going to probably operate slightly differently than you operate second and third week of the month. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
I love this shit, man. I'm telling you, I have so much fun teaching you guys.
I'm glad, bro, because that's what I'm learning. Like,
It's
bro.
incredible. Some of the stuff we do is truly incredible.
Bro, I was thinking earlier, those like diagrams where it's like if this happens and then it has two options, then do this, and then it splits down again, some more options. If this doesn't happen, then do this, but if it does happen, then do this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
imagine if we had like an ultimate one for like both algorithms that you could literally follow. If it does this, then this. If it does, and like
Now,
incorporating time, price, all that shit.
now that's what I've been like kind of doing like on video a lot. But
Yeah.
you're right. We could organize that information in a certain way to where it's more like in your face.
Right, like
Like
imagine this is a literal like checklist chart that you can like check off, bro. But like
it's a
a tree
checklist
chart,
of if
like
then
not like
statements.
in linear order, but like
Yeah.
I should like draw an example. I think you know what I'm talking about though.
If then, either one.
It kind of like looks like a family tree.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a cool concept, especially for like it's good because it would have to, I'll say this out loud. We would have to do it in a way that allows us to be intentional though. So that means if you're doing like an if then statement, it would have to be contingent on, okay, when I'm trading turtle soup, if boom boom boom, then, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense? If
Yeah.
I'm trading London, if I'm trading gold back levels, if it's the first week of the month, do you feel what I'm saying? You need to
Right.
come in with like that if needs to be strong. You know what I mean? It needs to come
Yeah.
from a intentional place. Like what type of trading I'm doing. Is it a swing trade?
Mm.
Day
Yeah.
trade? Scalp?
Much.
You feel what I'm saying? We need all these things in place if that is going to be of help to you.
Right. I don't think it would be up right now because I still have to like learn a lot still, but it would be cool.
So we're going to do it together though. So I like that type of exercise.
But
And so again, going into next week, I want to look for again more of your trade management. So whether it's back testing, whether it's replay mode, or even some like forward testing with crypto or whatever, I want to see like where your head is when you're operating like a session or like from day to day or left to right, and looking for examples of when price leaves something open that should get attacked.
right.
And you
I'm
find an
definitely
example of price coming back later and tagging it.
right.
Or if price gets, you know, in London, it creates a low and it gets tagged immediately in maybe like New York session or same session, I want you to find two examples of those as well. So it's two and two. So if you're finding something, for example, like how we looked at, like, I'll give an example here. Do you see how price had this low here on this Thursday?
Hmm.
It didn't take it on Friday. This would be an example of the type of homework that I'm asking for. So when I
Right.
see something open on the Thursday, Friday didn't take it. That's what caught my eye. But later on, I see how price came back and takes it.
Okay, so those are the two examples.
So you want to find two of something like this where price clearly gives you something that needs to get taken.
Yeah.
Annotate why it might have not got taken yet, then why it got taken at a different point. Just only two examples of something like this.
All right, bet. I got
And
that.
I'll send this to you right now too.
Oh, you gonna type it out shit?
So I'll
Or
send
the
you like
screen?
that example. Yeah,
Yeah, I can. That'll work.
yeah. So you want to find something that looks just like this, two different examples, and then find something of like let's do a little simple one, like a regular turtle soup.
But
Okay? These get hit immediately, don't they?
hmm
down. So this is like one example of one part of the homework. This would be like a second example for the other part of the homework. So
Mm,
one of or two each of both of these.
but
Clear. Okay.
got you. I
But
wrote it down too.
I'm
I
proud of
called
you,
the
bro.
first one almost turtle soup, and then the second one turtle soup.
So cool. As long as you can see that, you know, we got one that is delayed taking of liquidity is what I'll call it. Okay. But like I said,
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
proud of you,
like
bro. I know it's a tough, like some of the stuff that we talk about is so much information that that's why market organization is the biggest part before we even slap on like all the advanced in your face concepts, right?
yeah. Thank you, bro.
Understanding what liquidity is, which is like not just basic, but it's even people who trade ICT for years and years at a time have trouble with that.
Yeah, you know what you should do to some of your students? Just randomly spring the question, be like, "Can you explain to me like liquidity? Like I don't know here." That would be like just check up, see if everybody still got
Uh,
that. Because
yeah.
um, if this shit being recorded,
Hmm.
you recording this or not?
Yeah.
Hey, all right, that's lit, bro.
Yeah. This session will be on YouTube.
What's up, YouTube?
He said, "What's up, YouTube?" But yeah, bro. So that's cool. The oh wait, this one I forgot. So the same way that I was looking at an idea like that, and just to obviously leave off with it. Um, Talking about your routine, your personal view of the chart,
There's an example right there, right after it.
and so when you're looking at like when because we're putting together your model all the way, right?
Yeah,
We're pretty much looking for like when you're free, 9 times out of 10, that you're like trading around the same times, not just like London or New York, but like literally like looking to take trades around the same time of the day, whatever,
yeah.
3 to 4 days a week, and
Let me get
having the
down to the
same
minute.
routine with that. You know what I mean? So we're gonna go into next week with more trade management, time management, and working actually around your life schedule. So that way, it's actually easy for you to come in and pick what concept needs to be used for whatever time of the day that you're trading mostly. Okay, so we're gonna do that together starting next week.
That's
All right.
that's bro. Thank you, bro. Dang, you gotta be like the smartest teacher I ever met, bro. Rose. Cause
Nah,
I
not the
see what you're
smartest,
doing.
but we trying to get there. But I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, bro.
And so I'm gonna tap in with everybody. There is 6 new videos coming out.